Despite persistent rumors to the contrary, this is in fact the Rebel Daydreams podcast, where we have queer and absurd skits. This queer and absurd skit show is hosted by Serac the Undead Wizard. He has a little podcast where he talks to monsters. He's himself a monster, arguably, he would say so. And let's listen to what he has to say. Welcome back to Kill Them All, the podcast about world domination. I'm a Serac the Undead Wizard, here to interview another villain. But first, this week we are sponsored by the Fizzgig Crematorium. Has your Fizzgig passed on, and are you unsure what to do with the rotting remains? You all know I like to raise the dead, but raising a dead pet seems disrespectful. Send your Fizzgig off in style. The Fizzgig Crematorium will make a necklace out of your dead pet's razor-sharp teeth and a warm hood out of its fur and hair. Find the Fizzgig Crematorium in Sigil, next to the mortuary. This next guest is up and coming. In fact, they only became evil a few days ago. They're a gelatinous cube that has gained sentience by consuming a rather brilliant wizard. Visually, they're an 8-foot-tall green cube, inside of which is a skeleton wearing a wizard hat. Everyone please extend a warm welcome to Glabagool the Slime Wizard.
Hello from the Oozing Temple. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks for joining us, Glabagool. As I said, you're pretty new to the scene. Can you introduce yourself?
I'm a wizard. That used to be my whole thing up until recently. Now I've found religion. Have your followers heard the good news about Jiva Jubilex, the Slime Lord?
Oh, do tell.
Most slimes don't think, but we all follow the Slime Lord. He tells us to consume and multiply. And isn't that the prerogative of all animals?
I suppose so. I do that too, even though I'm not alive.
Good for you. Keep doing that, and eventually you too will be blessed with the fortifying power of slime.
I tend not to interact with slime all that much.
Oh, but you will. As we continue to multiply, we create more slime. And as we grow and grow, we will cover the entire planet. And then the whole material plane. And then the multiverse.
Oh, wow. You've got big plans. I can see that.
Oh, it's not so much as a plan. It's just the way things are. Slime multiplies and consumes. It's beautiful.
So, do you identify more as a person or more as a gelatinous cube that is digesting a person?
Oh, it's all one to me. I'm a gelatinous cube, and I'm also a wizard. And I am the wand the wizard is holding. And I'm the kolaches that the wizard ate for breakfast. And I'm the wizard, the universe, experiencing itself.
That's radical.
It is truly wonderful. It's a cosmic sense of oneness you get when you worship Jiva Jabonora.
Oh, I thought it was Jiva Jubilex?
Oh, Jiva is formless. And also, it's the ultimate form. Just as Jiva changes shape, so too does their name. Jiva Jubilex, Jiva Jabonora, Jiva Johnson.
That last one sounds like somebody I knew in elementary school.
Well, if they're lucky, they have already been eaten either by a gelatinous cube, a black pudding, or some other form of slime.
I appreciate that you enjoy being eaten by slime, but you're also not trying to push it on anybody. I was almost eaten by a gelatinous cube once.
Oh, how unfortunate that you avoided being eaten.
It was certainly an experience, but I think it's not for me.
Well, there's no rush. Slime eventually gets us all. Maybe you won't be eaten by slime this year or this millennium, but one day our goo will cover the whole world.
What a vision. It's beautiful. Of your slimy brethren, what type do you appreciate the most?
Oh, one type I can appreciate quite a bit is the psychic gray ooze. As the adventurers plunge their weapons into them, their weapons dissolve. So then the adventurers have no choice but to try and punch or kick the gray ooze. And of course, those limbs get encased in slime and are consumed. And if that isn't enough, the gray oozes can assault people with images of what their life will be like when they are dissolved in goo. Most minds can't handle the universal oneness of ooze, so most people die from the shock. Then the gray ooze eats them.
This is an interesting type of evil. You are not interested in exploiting people. You just believe that your way is the ultimate expression of being. And you're willing to show that to people, regardless of their consent. It's quietly evangelical.
Well, it's also just self-defense sometimes. We oozes are just minding our own business, eating things and getting bigger. Then a bunch of do-gooders kick down the door and attack us. Sometimes you have no choice but to show people the way.
Have you ever thought about coordinating a group of slimes to attack a town? You know, try a proactive strategy rather than just waiting for people to show up in your lair.
You know, that's interesting. I really don't see the need for it, though. It's difficult to get slimes to agree on anything, mostly because the majority of slimes aren't sentient. So running around imbuing slimes with sentience and then trying to get them to agree to a plan, it seems like a lot of work.
I see that. You know, we are alike in a lot of ways. I want to cover the planet in an army of the undead. You want to cover the planet in slime. And we have very different approaches for a similar goal.
Well, it's also a little tricky to say that I want to cover the earth in slime. I'm just doing my thing, and the cosmic inevitability of it all is that Jiva jean shorts will lead us to an ultimate victory.
Maybe we could combine forces. How does a slimy army of the undead sound to you?
That sounds interesting. It might be a way for both of us to expand our portfolios. Of course, you realize the instant one zombie gets covered in slime, it'll spread like wildfire. Then a large chunk of your army will turn into a puddle of goo.
We'll have to workshop that a little bit.
There's no rush. Like I keep saying, all the matter in your undead army will eventually turn into slime.
Well, we can agree to disagree, perhaps.
Sure we can.
Well, thank you for sharing your religious views and not being obnoxious about it, like those priests of Lathander are and Southern Baptists.
I just want to share my experience with people. Everyone should try being consumed, man, by slime. It's so rad.
Well, is there anything else you want to share before we sign off?
There's a parable about Jiva Jellybean. A woman was walking on a beach. She looked back, and for a distance, there was one set of footprints. Then there was a giant trough in the sand approaching the footprints. And then there were no footprints. And it was just a slightly larger trough in the sand, going all the way up to the woman. And then the woman looked down, and she was being eaten by a black pudding.
I love that story. Let's end there. Far out, man. That was pretty rad. Tubular. It was in fact tubular. I appreciate that guess very much. This is Dr. Rebel here with a brief show announcement. I mentioned this at the end of the last show, but if by chance you did not finish listening to the show in its entirety, you would have missed that we are now only releasing longer episodes every other Tuesday because we are almost caught up with the longer show changeover. And so what this means is that we will no longer have short episodes every other Tuesday. We'll just have the long one every other Tuesday instead. Also, I was late releasing this, but you know what? I don't make any money, so I'm doing my best, okay? And that's all I have to say. Love yourself, love other people. Here's a Sirach with more ways on how to murder the populace. We return to Kill Them All, my monster interview show about world domination. I'm a Sirach, the undead wizard, here to interview another villain. But first, This episode is sponsored by the Black Rock Thrift Exchange. Trying to find a new look to terrify the local populace? Search no further for top-notch threads. Because the Black Rock Thrift Exchange is frequented by immortal villains like myself, you'll find fashion from your favorite moments in history. Want a pointy hat with stars on it? Is your cloak of invisibility not so invisible anymore? No problem. Find the Black Rock Thrift Exchange in Skullport. Speaking of skulls, we have a connoisseur here with us today. There's quite a few skulls festooned on his crown and shoulders, and so many bones adorning his 8-foot-tall, red and muscular body. But unlike most hobgoblins, this one has a pair of wings. Please welcome to the show, Warlord Azarkul.
A pleasure to be here.
Thanks for coming. Now, we had a small-time boss on the show before, but your work goes far beyond that. You're what they call a community organizer.
You could say that. I've united the goblin tribes of the Wormsmoke Mountains.
Getting goblins to follow directions must be like herding cats.
Just like herding cats. If you skin half of them alive, the rest fall in line.
Ah, a beautiful image. But is it really that simple?
No. There's a lot of internal politics, making sure each group is satisfied, but once goblins and hobgoblins stop infighting, we can do a lot more pillaging. They're starting to realize that.
Good on you. I've tried hiring goblins to defend my lairs, and 9 times out of 10, they just wander off.
My trick is to hang meat on a rope over an area I want them to defend. They tire themselves out jumping, but they still scream if adventurers show up.
Do you have any goals besides pillaging? I know for many hobgoblins, that's an end unto itself.
Well, I am actually half dragon, so pillaging is in my blood both ways. But I'm wanting to learn more draconic magic as we raid the libraries and catacombs of Brindle.
Oh, wonderful. You're a magical practitioner, too.
Yeah, people think because I'm a Hobgoblin Warlord, all I can do is slice people's brains open with a battle axe. But I have a magical practice I'm really proud of.
Oh, that kind of bigotry is just terrible.
I'm half dragon. Draconic magic is practically as old as the weave itself. Racists get confused with biracial individuals like myself. It's like, which stereotype applies? Dumb hobgoblin or magical dragon spawn?
I'm sorry you have to deal with that.
It's okay. It's just a way for me to fly under the radar. They come wearing heavy armor, expecting my axe, and poof, I turn them into chickens.
Sounds satisfying. But I prefer to turn them into turtles. Then they're easy to hunt down and cage.
Oh, clever. Always something to learn with magic.
So what are you going to do with all that magic once you have it?
Well, this is why I agreed to come on the show. I want to spread the word about something.
Do tell.
Dragons all owe a debt to the Queen of Chaos. That's right, I'm talking about the dragon goddess Tiamat. Now, not long ago, Tiamat was sent to hell illegally. The giants didn't even have probable cause to enter her lair, let alone a warrant. She wasn't eating any children at the time. The scary thing is that it could happen to any of us. So that's my cause. Free Tiamat. Tiamat did nothing wrong.
You tell 'em.
It's a movement, and anyone can join. Even if you're not half dragon, anyone who stands against the tyranny of giants is welcome. All giants are bastards.
I do hate giants, but I have other commitments. How can I participate if I can't join your army?
Well, a simple prayer to Tiamat increases her power.
I'm not very religious, and I haven't prayed in a long time. Will you guide me in prayer?
Of course. Listeners can feel free to join in, too. First, close your eyes and imagine the lamentations of the dispossessed.
Ah, I'm enjoying this already.
Remember the last sentient being you killed.
I see the life draining from his eyes.
Then, ask Tiamat for whatever you want.
Dear Tiamat, I want diamonds. A lot of them. Preferably in a necklace.
That's all there is to it.
Wow, that was really refreshing. Not too much ceremony either.
And the beautiful thing is, even though Tiamat can't really help you get diamonds while she's in hell, now you have clarity. You know what your next goal is.
You're right. I don't always plan things out that explicitly.
Oh, you can add human sacrifice to the process. I usually do. But if you don't have any hostages around, Tiamat will still hear you.
Your faith is inspiring.
It's easy for me. I see Tiamat's handiwork in every blade of grass. Specifically, every blade of grass I torch as I lay waste to the countryside.
That's beautiful. Do you have anything else you'd like to promote before we end the show?
We can always use recruits. Join the Kolkor Zul, the people of the dragon, and see the world. The Red Hand descends. We march to Brindal at dawn. Uglaeth Nahagal.
Oh, you're just inspiring. If you're marching at dawn, I'm sure you have some last-minute preparations to finish up. So thanks for being on the show.
I'll head out. Thank you for joining me in prayer.
What charisma. What drive. If you take one thing from this show, just remember, you don't have to conform to a stereotype. You can break the mold. Azarkul is embracing his heritage and is forging a new path ahead for himself and his brethren. I can't wait to hear what he does next. I appreciate Azarkul's ambition, but I want to stress that this show is for every villain. You don't have to be bent on releasing an evil god or goddess from hell. You could just make a steady living exploiting the masses. However you decide to be evil, bring your stories here to kill them all. If you enjoyed my monster interview show, you could share it with a friend. Or you could subscribe to my Wizardly channel. Or you could leave us a review. Or you could do all three. Soon, the evil we create together shall span the multiverse.
Welcome back to Kill Them All, the podcast about world domination. I'm Babalai Saga, the Witch of Barovia, here to interview a conniving individual. But first, this week we are sponsored by Nightshade's Caress. This wonderful establishment is your one-stop shop for alchemical needs. We've mentioned various suppliers of poisons on this show already, but what if you want to turn someone into a toad? You need lamproot mushroom for that, and they don't grow just anywhere. Or maybe you want to bottle up a magical rune you found in a river nearby. From glassware to ingredients to completed potions, Nightshade's Caress has got you covered. Find them in Skullport. We have a very influential person on the show today, whispering in the ear of kings and diplomats. Her foresight takes her far. Please welcome to the show, Saba the Oracle.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate your royal purple robes and long red hair. And if I may say so, you have a gorgeously sharp jawline. But I'm curious, did you look into the future of this interview? How much of this conversation have you already foreseen?
Oh, nothing. I don't consult the divine for everyday matters, and I rarely do it for myself. It's my day job, not my hobby.
Many of our listeners will be surprised to learn that you are evil. As I said, you work with kings and diplomats, mostly good aligned folks.
Those are exactly the people we evildoers need to work with to make lasting change.
Aren't you worried about coming to the show? You're kind of outing yourself as the evildoer to those people.
Oh, even if they know I'm evil. They need me. When you're making big decisions, you need more than just your intuition. You need data. That's where I come in with my tea leaves and my Taraka deck.
You sound very confident in your abilities. I appreciate that.
Yep, I do a good job.
So then, if you're doing good work for good aligned people, how are you evil? You do define yourself that way, right?
Oh, absolutely. My way of doing evil is just to mislead people that are in power. Everyone's heard of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But when your prophecies are correct, 9 times out of 10, the 1 time in 10 I want to inject some influence into things, people listen. That's how I contribute to the downfall of society.
What's a good example of that?
Oh, for instance, Daygold Nevermember wanted advice about raising taxes. The war against the giants was draining his coffers, but he knew the peasants were having a hard time too. So he suggested a tax on the nobility. He asked for my advice about that. So I put on a big song and dance of reading the Taraka deck, and I just lied. And I told him that the nobles would revolt if he tried that. So he raised taxes on the very poor, as I knew he would.
You looked into the future and saw how he would respond to your prophecy?
No. I just knew that if he couldn't raise taxes on the nobility, he'd have to get it from the peasants. Simple.
Did you benefit personally in any way from the peasant tax?
Oh, not really. I just did it for the joy of being evil.
That's fascinating. Most evildoers directly benefit from their misdeeds.
I don't want fame or fortune. I get along fine.
Then why do you do it?
I don't like social order. People should be free to do what they want without princes and kings breathing down their necks. Even though the peasants obviously got poorer from the tax, it disgruntled them and pushed them closer to revolt. Just one or two more bad prophecies, and the powder keg will explode.
Ah, so you're an anarchist.
I also think the ends justify the means.
That's a very helpful aspect of being evil. You don't have to wring your hands about the methods. You can just go after whatever you want.
Yeah, it frees me up, which is important when you only do evil acts rarely. I don't have to worry that I'm not evil enough. The way of the world is that my prophecies have to be correct most of the time for me to have any influence. So even though I'm helping good people, I can tear people apart too. Just occasionally.
I don't practice much divination. What's it like to be able to see the future?
It was really overwhelming at first. Even something as simple as making yourself a cup of tea can have consequences that ripple forward. When I first realized I had the gift, I tried to shape the future perfectly by soothsaying for every minor decision. These days I let a lot of things go. I know overall that I'm helping to get rid of the monarchies, and that's enough.
Well, enough indeed. Before we wrap up, I have one more question. What do you have to say to all the little girls that want to make a career in villaining?
Don't navel gaze. We villains all want to do as much harm as we possibly can. But don't be discouraged if the power structures you live in prevent over-the-top evil. You can work towards the downfall of society in subtle ways. If you're able to cackle maniacally at the top of a mountain of skulls, great. But if you never get that sort of moment, don't doubt yourself.
That's a wonderful message. Thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Evil doing is not always what you might expect. I'm sure Saba would be happy with a more traditional career in villaining, with fire and destruction and all that. But she can see the future, and she knew that literally was not in the cards. So she became flexible. Even if you have to live in a society of good people, it's still possible to bring about change for the worse. You can adapt to whatever life gives you and still be villainous. And don't worry about those who say you're not a real villain. Eventually, it will be possible to give them what they deserve. Villains, no matter how overt or subtle your evil is, we'd love to have you on the show. Until next time, kill them all.
Thanks, Babala Saga. All right, one final piece of information for you before we close out the show. So I've gotten feedback that the audio sounds weird sometimes. Like sometimes people are echoey, sometimes people are not echoey. As I'm restructuring things into longer episodes, what's happening is that I'm putting together different audio clips from 4 years of recording with my friends. I want to do that so that we have shows that are cohesive and make sense together and not just all in chronological order. That's worse of a show, I would say. And occasionally I had mics that were really terrible for the purpose. The mics were great if you had one person in a room, but we do it all live pretty much. And so we're picking up each other's mics and we're loud and it's chaos. It's chaos. So I will eventually try to go back and fix all of that, but it's very laborious. And again, I'm not making any money. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe, share, and review the podcast if you desire to do so. I love you. Goodbye.